The first sign that her life was about to derail wasn't the scream. It wasn't the body, or the rain, or the flashing lights that would soon carve up the night. It was a message, and a short one at that. If you're following this case from the top, hit subscribe to Inspector Vale so you don't miss what's coming next. Clara Bennett sat at her cluttered desk in her dorm at Westford University, pushing through another late-night grind session. Finals were 2 weeks out, grad school submissions just behind that, and her entire meticulously engineered future depended on staying ahead of schedule. Outside, a steady drizzle smudged the city skyline, but Clara didn't look up even once. Control, that was her fuel, that was her shield. Ever since losing her parents at 17, she lived like every variable could be managed if she tried hard enough. Then her phone buzzed. "Lena, Clara, I need you. Lantern Hall Cafe. Urgent, please." Clara stopped mid-sentence. Lena Torres wasn't dramatic, not ever. She was the outgoing one, always laughing, always on the move, a complete counterweight to Clara's tightly wound routines. They had been inseparable since freshman year, and Lena never used the word urgent without reason. "Clara, Lena, I'm studying, can't break rhythm. Lena, I wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious. 20 minutes. Clara closed her eyes. 20 minutes wouldn't torpedo her future, and Lena never begged. "Clara, fine, 30 minutes. Don't be late." She grabbed a jacket and stepped into the wet, empty campus. Lantern Hall Cafe glowed like a small refuge near the library, warm lights, quiet chatter, soft jazz humming through the walls. Clara ordered black coffee and waited. 10 minutes, 20, 30, still no Lena. Clara texted again. No response. She called, phone off. Something twisted inside her chest. Lena didn't miss meetings. She didn't go silent. She didn't vanish. Clara left the cafe, her anxiety rising with each step. Rain blurred the lights around her as she cut across the quad, checking behind every corner, scanning the pathways like she expected Lena to simply appear. Then she heard it, a sound sharp enough to slice through the rain, a harsh, metallic crash, or maybe a cry, hard to tell. Clara froze. It came from the direction of the old robotics building, condemned last year, fenced off, waiting for demolition. Nobody was supposed to go there. Her breath quickened. Something felt wrong, deeply wrong. She followed the sound, her steps splashing through puddles. Behind the building was a courtyard, half swallowed by weeds. Only one lamp worked, flickering weakly in the storm. Something was lying in its circle of light. Clara's pulse spiked. She ran toward it, slipping on the soaked concrete. It was Lena. Her friend lay motionless, rain pooling around her. Eyes open, face pale, dark bruises around her neck. "No, no, 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 Lena." Clara dropped to her knees, shaking her friend's shoulders. "Wake up, please, wake up." But Lena didn't respond. Clara's scream tore through the night. Campus security arrived within minutes, then police, then paramedics who only exchanged grim looks. Clara sat on a bench, wrapped in someone's coat, shaking so hard she couldn't form words. A detective stepped forward, a tall man in his mid-40s with an expression that didn't miss much. "I'm Detective Marcus Hale. You found her." Clara nodded numbly. "You knew the victim. She was my best friend." As Clara answered his questions, one thought kept cutting through the shock like a blade. Lena had needed to talk. Lena had been afraid. Lena had known something. And Clara was about to find out what it was, no matter how dark the truth turned out to be. Detective Hale's questions blurred together, but Clara forced herself to answer. Times, messages, where she'd been, what she'd seen. Every word scraped her throat. When they finally let her go, she stood under the overhang near the courtyard, watching paramedics zip Lena into a black bag. Rain drummed on the plastic. Back in her dorm, Clara closed the door and leaned against it. The room looked the same: desk, bed, textbooks, but it all felt fake. Her phone vibrated on the desk. Condolence texts, campus alerts, a message from her advisor. Clara flipped it face down. Her eyes went to the corkboard above her desk. Calendars, exam countdowns, grad school deadlines. 4 years of planning pinned in straight lines. A knock broke the quiet. Clara wiped her face with her sleeve and opened the door. A guy her age stood there, rain in his dark hair, hoodie soaked at the shoulders. His brown eyes were red. "You're Clara Bennett?" he asked. "Yes, I'm Ryan Cruz," he swallowed. "I was seeing Lena." "She never told me," Clara said. "She wanted to wait until it felt real, said you already had enough to worry about." She stepped aside. Ryan came in and sat on the edge of her bed, elbows on his knees, hands locked together. "She called me yesterday," he said. "She sounded nervous, said she'd found something and needed to talk to someone she trusted." "At the old robotics building?" Clara asked. He looked up. "Yeah, how did you?" "That's where they found her." Ryan stared at the floor. "She told me she'd seen men going in and out late at night, not students, moving boxes, equipment. She thought it was shady, drugs, stolen tech, something like that. She joked about being in a crime show, but I could tell she was scared." "Did she know who they were?" "No. One wore a university jacket with a patch on the sleeve, but it was too dark to see his face. She wanted to go back, get proof, then decide what to do." His voice cracked. "I told her to leave it alone." "And now she's dead," Clara said. Silence settled over the room. Ryan finally whispered, "Whatever she saw is still there, and whoever killed her knows it." Fear pressed at Clara's thoughts, but beneath it something harder formed. "Then we find it before they do," she said. "Clara, that's insane. The police will investigate," she cut in. "But they didn't know Lena, they don't know what caught her eye. We do." He hesitated, then sighed. "If we even think someone's there, we leave. No hero stuff. Deal." They slipped out of the dorm in dark clothes, hoods up against the drizzle. They cut behind the science quad toward the condemned robotics building. Police tape hung from the chain-link fence, lit in patches by distant lamps. Ryan stopped at the gate. "Last chance to pretend we stayed in tonight." Clara wrapped her fingers around the cold metal. "Lena texted me for help. I was late, I'm not doing that twice." She pushed. The gate creaked inward, not locked, not even latched. Ryan's eyes widened. "Someone's already been here." "Maybe they still are," Clara said. They stepped through the opening together, and the darkness beyond the fence closed around them. Past the fence, the air felt colder, like the campus ended. Clara kept her flashlight in her pocket. Light could give them away. The robotics building loomed ahead, 4 stories of broken windows and rusted metal. The main doors were boarded, so they walked the perimeter, boots crunching on gravel. Ryan pointed. "There." A metal service door hid behind vines. Torn police tape hung from the handle. Clara's pulse jumped. She tried the handle. It turned. The door swung in with a soft scrape. Inside smelled of dust, oil, and chemicals. A narrow corridor stretched ahead, lined with faded warning posters. Clara switched on the flashlight, aiming it at the floor. "Footprints," she whispered. Ryan crouched. "Still wet. Someone came through here after the storm." They followed the tracks until the hall opened into a wide bay, an old workshop filled with dead machines and overturned tables. Their steps echoed too loudly. Clara swept the beam across the concrete and stopped. One corner was oddly clean. Dust stopped in a straight line. An open cabinet stood empty. On the floor lay a crumpled strip of white plastic. She picked it up. A disposable glove, almost new. "Whoever's using this place was here recently," Ryan said. A faint clatter rolled through the bay. Clara snapped the light off. Darkness swallowed them. "That wasn't us," Ryan breathed. They pressed to the wall and listened. Soft footsteps sounded overhead, moving along the second floor. "We should leave," Clara whispered. "Best idea yet," Ryan said. But Lena had walked here alone because she thought what she'd seen mattered. That thought wouldn't let go. "Just the upper walkway," Clara said. "If we see anything, we're out." Ryan swore, then followed her to the metal stairs. Every step complained. Halfway up, the footsteps above them stopped. They climbed the last few steps. A narrow catwalk ran along the wall. At the far end, weak light leaked from a doorway. "Someone's in there," Clara murmured. They crept closer. Voices drifted out, men tense and low. "Told you to move everything tonight." "I did. The rest goes tomorrow, but if that girl talked to anyone," "She didn't. They checked her phone, nothing sent. It's the other one I'm worried about. The student who found her." Cold slid through Clara. Ryan squeezed her arm. "We're done, we leave now." They started backing away. Clara's elbow hit a hanging pipe. Metal rang through the bay, the voices cut off. Then a shout. "Someone's here." Footsteps lunged toward the door. "Run," Clara hissed. They tore down the catwalk. A man burst out behind them, yelling to someone below. Clara and Ryan hit the stairs at full speed and sprinted across the bay toward the service door. More footsteps thundered from a side hall. Ryan grabbed her wrist. "Forget stealth." They crashed through the door, ran for the fence, and shoved through the half-open gate onto the campus path. Only then did Clara look back. No one followed. The building stood dark, the torn tape fluttering. Ryan bent over, gasping. "They let us go." Clara stared at the fence. "No, they figured out Lena wasn't alone, and now they know about me." Clara didn't sleep. She lay in the dark, replaying the voices from the catwalk. "Move everything tonight," checked her phone, the student who found her. By morning, one decision had set like concrete. "We're going to the police," she said. Ryan, half dozing in the chair by her desk, blinked. "You think they'll thank us for sneaking into a taped-off building? They'll thank us for this." She held up her phone. On the screen, an audio file almost an hour long. "You recorded it?" he asked. "I hit record in the hallway. Habit," she shrugged. Paranoia finally paid rent. They listened with shared headphones. Footsteps, low voices, the line about Lena's phone, the one about the student who found her, the pipe clang, the shout, their own frantic breaths. Ryan pulled the headphones off. "Okay, we take it in now before those guys decide we heard too much." Westford City Police was smaller than Clara expected. Fluorescent lights, beige walls, a lobby that smelled like coffee. Detective Marcus Hale met them and led them to a cramped office stacked with files. He eyed the flash drive Clara set on his desk. "This is from the robotics building," she nodded. "From last night. Start from the top." They did. Lena's text, the courtyard, the open gate, the glove, the voices above. Hale interrupted once. "You understand," he said, "that entering an active crime scene is illegal." "The gate wasn't locked," Ryan replied. "We didn't break anything. Someone else did." Hale turned the flash drive between his fingers, then plugged it in and hit play. The room went quiet. When the line played, "It's the student who found her I'm worried about," Hale paused and looked up. "That's you," he said. "Yes," Clara answered. He leaned back. "All right. My texts verify the audio. We pull cameras near that building. We run the voices against people with access, maintenance, faculty, contractors." "You think they work for the university?" Clara asked. "Someone had keys and confidence," Hale said. "That usually means a badge or a paycheck." Ryan swallowed. "Are we in danger?" "Yes," Hale said. "Whoever killed Lena is nervous enough to move evidence at night. Now they know you were up there too." He folded his hands. "You go to class. You stay around people. You don't go near that building again. You see anyone watching your dorm or trailing you, you call me. Immediately." "And if they come first?" Clara asked. "Then I make sure they don't get a second chance," he said. "Let Inspector Vale tell stories about this. You focus on staying alive." They left the station in a drizzle. Cars hissed on wet streets. Students crossed with earbuds in, life pretending nothing had changed. "Think he'll actually move on this?" Ryan asked as they neared campus. Clara pictured Hale's face as he listened. The irritation had vanished, replaced by focus and worry. "I think he believes us," she said, "and that scares him." "That's comforting," Ryan said. Her phone buzzed. She checked the screen. "Unknown number, you should have stayed away from the building." Cold spread through her chest. Another message appeared. "Unknown number." Lena didn't listen either. Clara stopped walking. Ryan took one look at her face and grabbed her phone. His jaw tightened as he read the messages. "Clara, this is a threat." Her hands shook, but her voice stayed steady. "He knows my number. He knows we were there." Ryan pulled her toward the nearest building entrance, away from open space. "We're going straight to Hale." But before they reached the door, another text came through. "Unknown number, don't make me clean up twice." Ryan swore under his breath. "Okay, now we run." They hurried across the quad, weaving between students until they reached Clara's dorm. Once inside her room, Ryan locked the door and pulled the blinds. Clara paced, pressing her palms to her temples. How did they get my number? Ryan thought for a moment. Last night when they said they checked Lena's phone, if she had your contact saved. They saw me in her messages, Clara finished. And now they think you know everything she did. Clara sank onto her bed. I should have called Hale the second the text came in. We still can, Ryan said, but that means giving up the phone as evidence. Clara hesitated, then handed it over. Do it, Ryan dialed. Detective Hale answered immediately. Bennett, something happened. Someone texted her, Ryan said. Threats from an unknown number. Read them, Hale ordered. Ryan did. Hale's tone hardened. I'm sending a cruiser to your dorm. Stay inside. Don't open the door unless it's law enforcement. He hung up. Minutes later, a patrol car pulled up outside. A uniformed officer knocked, confirmed their identities, and stationed himself in the hallway. Inside the room, Clara forced herself to breathe. Hale's going to trace the number, right? He'll try, Ryan said. But if these guys are organized, they're not texting from a personal cell. Clara stared at the wall. Lena died for something happening in that building, and now they're moving it. Ryan sat beside her. They think you're a problem, but Hale has the recording. He believes you. That's leverage. Clara's phone buzzed again, even though it lay on her desk, powered off. Ryan froze. How is that possible? Clara approached slowly. Her screen lit up by itself despite being shut down. Unknown number. You talked to the police. Then, are you sure they can protect you? Ryan grabbed the device, yanking the battery pack free. The screen went black. That's not a text, he said. That's a remote trigger. They hacked it or used a cloned SIM. Clara swallowed. So whoever this is, they're close. A knock rattled the door. Westford PD, the officer outside called. Detective Hale on the line for you. Ryan checked the peephole, then cracked the door. The officer passed through a phone. Hale's voice came fast. Good news and bad news. Good, we traced the device that pinged your number. It's not personal, it's a rotating relay. These guys are sophisticated. And the bad? Clara asked. One of the security cameras near the robotics building caught 2 masked men leaving around the time you fled. They weren't students. One had a keycard for restricted areas. University staff? Ryan asked. Possibly. But the worst part, you might have been followed last night. A vehicle tailed your direction before peeling off. Clara felt her throat tight. So what now? I'm moving you both to temporary safe housing, Hale said. Off campus. Tonight, Clara looked around her room, the desk, the corkboard, the neat plans pinned in perfect rows. Last night she'd lost her best friend. Today she was losing her normal life. When? She asked. Right now, pack lightly. We'll pick you up in 15. The officer took the phone and stepped back into the hall. Clara stuffed schoolwork, a change of clothes, and her laptop into a backpack. Ryan did the same. As they stepped into the hallway, Clara glanced once more at her dark phone on the desk. The screen flickered without power. One final message glowed faintly before dying out. Unknown number. Running won't help. I always catch up. The unmarked sedan left campus behind, streetlights smearing gold across the windows. Clara sat in the back beside Ryan, clutching her backpack like a shield. Detective Hale drove, jaw tight. You're going to a departmental safe flat, he said. Address is need to know. No social media, no visiting friends, no solo walks. Until this is done, you don't exist. How long is until? Ryan asked. As long as the people threatening you are breathing. They crossed into an older part of the city, warehouses, dark offices, almost no foot traffic. Hale pulled into an underground garage below a brick building. Another officer met them at the elevator and rode up in silence. The flat was small and plain, 2 rooms, a narrow kitchen, heavy steel door, blackout curtains. Motion sensors blinked green by the windows. You're safe here, Hale said. Safer than anywhere else anyway. Those messages didn't feel like amateurs, Clara replied. They're not, Hale said. The relay network they used to hit your phone, that's expensive. Someone with money and access is running this. We've tied a shell company renting part of the robotics building to missing lab equipment. Prototypes, components that never arrived. Someone steals them, someone else sells. And Lena stumbled into the middle, Clara whispered. Hale nodded once. Now you two have their voices on tape. That makes you assets and targets. Officer Blake will stay with you. You don't open the door for anyone but us. His radio crackled. Hale, you copy? Go. Patrol at Robotics found something on the south wall. Looks like a message for your witnesses. You might want eyes on. Hale's gaze darkened. I'm on my way, Blake. They don't leave, you don't sleep. He left. The lock clicked behind him. Silence settled over the flat, broken only by the fridge hum. Officer Blake took up position near the door, hand resting close to his holster. Ryan dropped onto the couch. Spray paint, message, feels like we're in the trailer for a bad crime movie. Clara couldn't sit. She drifted to the window and lifted the blackout curtain a crack. Clara, Ryan warned. Just a second. Outside, the street looked almost empty. A few parked cars, a distant traffic light blinking red. Then she noticed the SUV, dark. No headlights, no inside light. Parked across from their building, angled directly at their windows. Ryan, he joined her. That wasn't there when we arrived. The SUV's engine rumbled once, a low, deliberate growl, then went quiet. Blake yanked the curtain shut. Away from the window, both of you. He keyed his radio. Unit Bravo, this is Blake at Safe Flat. Possible hostile surveillance vehicle request, static. He tried again. Nothing. The overhead lights flickered, dimmed, then died completely. The room dropped into darkness. A faint electronic buzz crawled along the walls. Backup should have kicked in, Blake muttered. It didn't. In the stairwell outside, footsteps echoed, slow, heavy, climbing. Blake drew his gun. Behind the table. Now, Clara and Ryan dropped behind the small dining table, hearts hammering, listening as the footsteps reached their floor and stopped right outside the door. Something thin and metallic slid into the lock. Whoever was out there wasn't knocking. The metal tool scraped inside the lock, measured and cold. Clara crouched behind the table, lungs tight, Ryan's hand locked around hers. Officer Blake stood ready, gun raised. Another click. A breath outside the door. Then a violent crash rattled the hallway. Police! Hands where I can see them! Shouts erupted. Boots thundered. Blake swung the door open. Clara and Ryan followed just enough to see two tactical officers pinning a masked intruder to the floor. A second man lay unconscious near the stairwell. Detective Hale appeared behind the team, rain dripping from his coat. You two okay? Clara forced herself upright. Who were they? Cleanup crew, Hale said grimly. Sent to erase witnesses. You were next. Ryan ran a hand through his hair. So the operation goes higher. Much higher, Hale said. Your audio paid off. Voice analysis matched one suspect to a senior research coordinator, access to labs, inventory logs, procurement chains. He's in custody and already cooperating. He gave us names, payment routes, equipment lists. The shell company, the stolen prototypes, it all matches. Clara swallowed. And Lena, her death is no longer just a campus incident, Hale said. It's evidence in a federal tech smuggling case. She'll get justice. Relief rolled over Clara slowly, painfully. The night's fear didn't vanish, but it finally loosened its hold. Hours passed. Officers cleared the hall. The masked intruders were taken away. When the sun began smudging the sky with pale light, Hale drove Clara and Ryan back to campus. They walked across the empty quad, dew glowing on the grass. Clara stopped at the library steps, staring at the quiet campus that had turned into a battlefield. Thank you, she said softly, for not leaving when things got dangerous. Ryan gave a tired smile. Lena would have cursed us out if we bylaid. Clara laughed, small, shaky, but real. She really would have. They sat together as sunrise warmed the cold concrete. Students would soon spill out for morning classes, unaware of the night's violence that nearly claimed 2 more lives. What happens now? Ryan asked. Clara looked toward the silhouette of the robotics building, sealed and guarded. I move forward, not the way I planned, but with purpose. Lena didn't get to choose her future, so I'm going to live mine like it matters. Ryan nudged her shoulder. Grad school still on the table? Yeah, but not just for me anymore. They rose as early sunlight spilled across the campus. "You ready?" Ryan asked. Clara breathed in deeply. "Yeah, let's start new." If you like this story, don't forget to subscribe to Inspector Vale and hit the like button. And here's the question for you. What do you think Clara should do next after everything she survived?